Greetings, friend, and welcome to the Between the Covers podcast, where we are working every day to remove the self-limiting beliefs that are preventing us from becoming the heroes of our own stories. I am Marcus Spar, and today I want to revisit a topic that I actually talked about 46 episodes ago back in January of this year, and that is about hope. The reason why this topic came to mind is because my partner Libby and I were having a conversation last night, and it was, for all intents and purposes, a good conversation, even though Libby had originally stated as, I'm kind of embarrassed to bring this up to you. I have been trying to do a lot of work here lately with getting some more clients, with trying to engage with different communities, trying to network with individuals. Naturally, this is something that Libby supports, and it would be a boon to both of us if she didn't have to shoulder so much of the financial burden to make sure that we're able to keep doing what we're doing here. Which brought us to this conversation we had last night. Libby had an experience recently that was encouraging for her, but she was also a little embarrassed by it. And when we were just talking about this, she had admitted, or she started this story off where she's like, you know those times when we have just received that oddly specific fortune cookie that just really talks about something that we're dealing with? And I'm like, I'm well aware of that. We have had many times where we have received a bit of encouragement from something as simple as a single sentence or possibly two from the fortune inside of a fortune cookie. And there have also been those times when we have been outright lectured to by what comes out of a fortune cookie. And so she was sharing with me last night that what was on her mind at the time that you're listening to this, it's like right before Thanksgiving. The time of this recording, this is the first week of September. I'm trying not to get too glistening in here as we are having another extreme heat event here in southeastern Washington state. And I'm trying to get this done before it gets to be too hot in my office that gets a ton of sun right here in the afternoon. This is also before 2 hero study interviews that I have, one later on this week, I have one next week, and then I'm also going to be conversing with an LGBTQAI plus therapist in 3 weeks. And we're hoping that this might be able to help spread a little bit more of the word of the work that I'm doing and how I can potentially help some people in this area. We are hopeful, we'll say. But leading up to these interviews, leading up to these calls, Libby has been listening to some ASM artists that she's actually been doing this for a while now. If you're not aware, ASM artists are individuals on YouTube and probably other locations as well, but Libby listens to them pretty much exclusively on YouTube, who will talk in whispers and will do things with very highly sensitive microphones in order to catch very quiet sounds that will engage some kind of sensation in the body and the brain. I forget what ASMR stands for, but these are people who are artists, so to speak, in this form of video and audio production. And so there is this ASM artist that she was listening to who had her, and I guess anyone else who was listening to or watching this video, come up with a question that they wanted to have an answer to. And so Libby came up with the question of, well, these 2 interviews and this call that I have with a therapist, will that help Marcus to get some more clients? And so she went into this video with this specific question in mind. And as they were going through this video, it was one where they were using tarot cards, and they would draw like 2 cards and match them up with gems. And the ASM artist just had some things to say based on the cards, gems, combinations. I'm not entirely certain. The only thing that's ASMR that I have discovered that does anything to my nervous system is the sound of a pen scratching on paper as someone writes. And so this ASM artist was sharing some things based on what the tarot cards and the gem combinations were doing. And Libby felt that they were oddly specific to what she was thinking about, what she was pondering, the question that she brought. And she was kind of embarrassed by this. And that's what she wanted to talk with me about last night. And as we were discussing this, I asked her, kind of what does this do for you? What is this helping you to feel? And her first response was that as a Christian, she does not hear from God the same way every single time. And I know many Christians would say, something like tarot cards is witchcraft and you should not engage in that, and you should only get your answers from the Bible and from preachers and pastors. And yet, Libby found something that gave her hope through this video. And as we were talking about it, I just said, what do they all have in common? Talking about this video that she listened to, talking about when she was an American Christian and she was praying for something and she was asking God for some answer to a dilemma, to a question that she had. And something as innocuous as the fortune from a fortune cookie that really spoke to something that we were dealing with. What did they all have in common? And it boiled down to hope. They all gave her hope in one way or another. I continue to listen to Straight White American Jesus. In fact, at the time of this airing, this will be the week after I release my interview with Brad Onishi, who is the founder of Axis Mundi, and he is one of the co-hosts of Straight White American Jesus. And one of the things that I have always appreciated about his work and the work of Dan Miller on this podcast is every Friday they release the weekly roundup, and they always end every episode with reasons for hope. I am also a contributor to their work, and so I have access to their Discord, and in their Discord server they have a channel that is specifically reasons for hope, and people share what it is that is giving them some hope when in a lot of cases it doesn't seem like there is a whole lot out there. And this hope does a great job of helping us to stay afloat when we feel like we're drowning in despair, in these dire situations, in depression, in negativity. And realizing that there was this thread that was connecting all of these different experiences, in that they gave Libby hope. Whether we're talking a prayer to an otherworldly deity, whether we're talking coming to a video with a question and getting some specific answers, and a fortune from a fortune cookie. These all gave her hope. Now, I understand that things like fortune cookies, things like these tarot card readings, a lot of times these are intentionally vague so that the net that they cast out is capable of covering a lot of different questions and scenarios. And at the same time, I am not going to say and diminish what Libby experienced from this ASM artist. I am not going to say, oh, well, the answer that you received wasn't really all that specific because of this nature with this kind of practice. This is something that has been shown many, many times over. And yet, it's something that still persists. Why? Probably because it gives people hope. It gives them something that they can hold on to when maybe they're just grasping at anything. And I am never, ever going to ridicule someone because of their hope, because we all need it. And while Libby and I were talking about this, and we figured out kind of what this boiled down to, I asked her, did this experience with this ASM artist, did that do anything different than that fortune from the fortune cookie? Did it really do anything different from when you prayed to God and received an answer from something that knows more? And this is one of the things about Libby and her spirituality, where she still does identify as a Christian. There are just some things that she cannot get rid of. They have too much credence to what she believes about life. And one of them is the two of us getting together. And the story of us where we met on the dance floor at my best friend's wedding, after we had talked and gotten to know each other a little bit on the dance floor, she heard a voice that said, "Don't let that man go. Don't lose him." That's something that she can't explain. She can't explain that. She also can't explain how one time when she was younger, her dad was going to go run an errand and asked Libby if she wanted to go with him, and there was something that pulled her that said, "Don't go. Don't go." And so she didn't. And her dad got into a horrible accident where someone T-boned their vehicle, and the collision, the impact of the collision would have been right where Libby was sitting in the vehicle. Those are things that she can't just toss those aside. And so when she's praying, even if she's not entirely certain who or what God is, if we don't have the very concrete definition that we both grew up with, that God is a patriarchal figure, embodies both the masculine and the feminine, but is often called a father, and is the creator of all, came through the person of Jesus Christ to be the Messiah that the world needed, and I'm pretty certain you know that story. These things, especially when we're talking about spirituality, they oftentimes do give us hope. And again, I'm not going to knock someone for believing in something that gives them hope. Hope of an afterlife, hope of freedom, hope that they can overcome some kind of horrible compulsion or addiction or get through a very difficult time. And in this case with Libby, she received a good dose of hope from an ASM artist who was giving information based off of tarot cards and gems. And it gave her hope. Great. I'm all for that. I'm not going to judge her. I don't judge anyone for that. And while we were talking, I had shared with her, is that really any different than when I found this song from the video game Phantasy Star Portable 2 called Fly to Universe, that during a time when I really needed hope, I heard this song on a video that was just a compilation of many, many different songs from the Phantasy Star franchise. But this one in particular stuck out to me. And I really listened to it. And then I found just this one by itself, and I would listen to it. I would eventually purchase it, and it's on my phone, and I listen to it because it gave me hope. There's no words in the song, but I still had something of a spiritual experience with it. Listening to this song gave me hope in a time when I really needed it. I desperately needed to feel hope in order to counter the despair that I was feeling, in order to counter the depression that I'm still going through. I needed that hope. And that's one of the things that I find so valuable and important for us. And I guess it's the first time ever in this podcast history that we are revisiting a topic pretty much in the same year. Hope is one of the things that is such a driver for us, and it gives us meaning and motivation to move forward. And there is this young man that I used to work with. We had many, many conversations about hope because he had a love-hate relationship with it, especially in terms of trying to find a romantic partner, because he would have hope that maybe someone would be a right fit, and then that would come crashing down on him. And then he started to despise the hope. The hope made him feel like that it was possible, and yet all of his experiences were telling him it wasn't. And so he and his hope, I'm hoping that the two of them even reconciled, but he and his hope had a very complicated and strained relationship with each other. And so I know that there are some people that as I'm talking about hope, they're like, oh yeah, of course you can talk about hope, Mr. Privileged white male American who doesn't have ICE banging on their door trying to take them away. You're not in danger of losing your house. You're not in danger of being arrested compared to so many other people. And I get that. I absolutely get that. I am fortunate and I am lucky with my privilege. And I try not to take that for granted. And I try to help where I can. And at the same time, I still find it so valuable and so important for us to hold on to even just the smallest semblance of hope. If not, what is there to get up for? A paycheck? There are a lot of people who work to get a paycheck and they're not finding anything fulfilling in their life. Why would we get up in the morning? Why would we continue to ram our heads into the walls that we experience on a daily or a weekly basis if we didn't have hope for something better, hope for something improving, hope for change? And especially in our chaotic political environment, I feel like every little bit of hope that we can get is worth holding on to. And whether that's something that comes from a scripture, from some kind of spiritual book, whether it comes from a friend, whether it comes from a fortune cookie, whether it comes from music, a game, whether it comes from listening to podcasts, whether it comes from watching your favorite sports team or your favorite sports player, whether it comes from relaxing in the middle of a thunderstorm, which we ended up having one just over this last weekend, knowing that there is so much raw power out there and that in that moment we are safe. Whether it's looking up at the sky, seeing clouds, enjoying the blue sky, whether it's the gentle touch of a friend or a lover, of a family member, if it's getting that text out of the blue of someone remembering you, maybe a birthday, or maybe that just someone was thinking of you. Whatever it is, even just the smallest amount of hope, hold on to that. Don't let that go. Don't take it for granted. Don't let anyone else tell you that you shouldn't be deriving hope from that. Because if you're feeling hope from it, then it is speaking to you in some very important way. Is it necessarily the truth? I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen after these 2 interviews and a call with a therapist. I don't know if they're actually going to improve things for me at all. I don't know if it's going to help me get a couple more clients or end up finding myself with a full load of clients. I really don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what the future holds. But if it gives Libby hope, if it gives you hope, whatever the source of hope is, if it is giving you some comfort in the turmoil that surrounds you, whether it is true or not, hold on to that hope, because if nothing else, it will help you to take the next step. It will help you to find the strength to get up in the morning. It can help you find the courage to say what needs to be said, to do what needs to be done, to take care of yourself. That is the value and the power of hope. And so I sincerely hope, against all hope, that whatever lights the fire within your soul to do what you know you need to do, wherever that source is coming from, take it. Take that hope. Take that motivation. Take that love, that compassion. Take that power. Do what needs to be done, even if it's just one day at a time, one simple step at a time. Thanks so much for listening. I want to remind you that if you have benefited from this, please give this podcast a rating and a review on iTunes, on Spotify. If you're watching this or listening to it on YouTube, please give this video a like and subscribe and leave a comment. Get in touch with me. If you have any questions about this or anything else, you can reach me at questions.btcpod@gmail.com. And I look forward to talking with you again soon. And until next time, live strong for today.